Hello. I want today to teach you on the why we need to understand that there's different names in the Bible that are a little bit confusing because they're not spelled exactly the same. So we assume that it's a different name or a different person, but that's not the case, and this is what the Lord's been showing me. So I would kind of like to go over this chart with you, and then I would kind of like to show you some of the names in the Bible, how they reclaimed land and renamed rivers, and they renamed cities. So I would like to show you this first to kind of give you a broader view and understanding what God is trying to show us. He's trying to show us to study. He wants us to dig in deep in His Word and dig out the treasures. And He doesn't want us to be lazy Christians and let somebody else study for us. He wants us to study, and He wants us to hear His voice. So I pray that you'll pray on this and you'll listen to God's voice, because God says in John 10:27, "My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me." So I'm going to go over this with you right quick. This is the same person, but it's there are different spellings on it. Okay, this first one is Isaiah, I-S-I-A-I-A-H, Isaiah. Now, we all are very familiar with that, and I pray that you're using the King James Version, because if you're not, you're getting watered down milk. Okay, so Isaiah, in Isaiah 61, 1 and 2, is also mentioned in the New Testament, which is Luke 4:17, but it's spelled different, so it can be very confusing. It's spelled E-S-A-I-A-S, so that's the same thing, Isaiah, but it's spelled different. Okay, in 1 Kings 17:1, you see where Elijah is spelled E-L-I-J-A-H. Okay, in James it's spelled E-L-I-A-S. Noah in the New Testament is spelled N-O-A-H. It's also spelled N-O-E in the New Testament. So it's kind of a confusing thing unless you know. If you know, then you can pretty much figure it out. But you've got to be diligent to study. Okay, Job is spelled J-O-B. That's in Job 1. We know how Job is spelled. Okay, in 1 Chronicles 1, 2, 3, Job is spelled Job-Ab. Okay, and so they dropped off the A and the B. Okay, so that's confusing to us because we're not used to that, and we haven't been taught. Okay, but there's a reason that we need to be taught this, and I'll go over that with you in a moment. Okay, Salah is he's the one that wrote a lot of the Psalms, and they were passed on down to King David, and he put them in his book of Psalms. In Genesis 11:13, Salah is spelled S-A-L-A-H. Okay, in 1 Chronicles it's spelled Shelah. 1 Chronicles 1:18. So you wouldn't think that would be the same name, but it's the same person. It's the same person. Genesis 11:29 is Nahor, and it's spelled N-H-A-O-R. Okay, in Luke 3:34 it's spelled N-A-C-H-O-R. And I want to bring it to your attention right quick that Nahor is the chosen line that God chose to use when He gave out the Chronicles of, and He gave out the ages. He used the age of Nahor. Okay, Nahor was the son of Serug, which was the son of Ruiah, which was the son of Peleg, which was the son of Eber, which was the son of Salor, and so till you get to Noah. Okay, so that's very important that we know these names and we know who God's talking about. Jonah is J-O-N-A-H. In Jonah 1:1, we see that. Jonah is J-O-N-A-H, okay? And Jonah is also spelled in the New Testament. In John 1:42, it's spelled J-O-N-A, okay? But it's also spelled in the New Testament J-O-N-A-N. So in Luke 3:30, it's spelled J-O-N-A-N. And Terah is spelled T-E-R-A, and then in the Old Testament, in Genesis 38:11, and Luke 3:34, it's spelled T-H-A-R-A. Okay, now you can find that in Terah is right here before Abraham. Now, Terah was Abraham's father, okay? So it's very important to know who these people are, okay? Elijah, the second prophet in the that did so many miracles. His name Elijah. It's spelled E-L-I-S-H-A in 2 Kings 5:20, and in Luke 4:27, it's spelled E-L-I-S-E-U-S. See, so it's really it's amazing how many different spellings there are, but they're the same people. So this is something I wanted to share with you. Is God wants us to study. He wants us to understand what He's doing, because if we follow man, then we're going to get very, very lost. We need to be following the leader. Jesus is the leader, okay? And I want to share this with you. I don't know if you realize it or not, but Noe, and this is something the Lord just recently showed me, Noah, okay? When Noah and Shem and Ham and Japheth got off the boat, which they're the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. There's not a lineage mentioned that I can find in the Bible of Ham and Japheth. The only lineage I can find is Shem, and I guess he was most godly seed, okay? So Noah and Shem and Ham and Japheth, they're the sons of Noah. Noah died at the age 950. Shem died at the age of 600. Ham, it's not mentioned how long he lived, but I'm sure he lived a long time. And it's not mentioned how long Japheth lived, because the lineages doesn't mention their ages, okay? But it's very important to realize there is God mentioned these ages and who begot who for a reason. There was a very good reason, okay? Noah, he had Shem at 100 and let's see, I have to look because I can't remember. But anyway, Noah had Shem, okay, and these are the years that everyone died in, okay. So this is very, very important, okay. Noah had Shem, and Shem had Uz. Now I want you to put this back in your mind about Uz, okay? Uz. Hold on to this, because this is very, very important. I wanted to explain to you why I'm using this one right here. This is the name of a city, okay? But it's also the name of a person, and there's a reason for this, okay? Now, during the flood, when Noah and all of them was on the boat, they floated for a year to the east. They landed on Mount Ararat in Israel, around Jerusalem in Israel. So they landed on the boat, and then this is the important thing to remember, is they just didn't stay in the east like we've been taught. They had, it says in Genesis 8:4, and the ark rested in the 7th month on the 17th day of the month upon the mountains of Ararat. So they meant the ark landed on the mountains of Ararat. In Genesis 11:2, it says, and it came to pass as they journeyed from the east, okay? They journeyed from the east to the west, okay? Who journeyed, okay? First off, Ham journeyed. He journeyed. He's journeyed to Egypt. We know Ham went to Egypt. Okay, Japheth, I'm not really sure about, but he went up here, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And then Shem, I feel like Shem probably went this way, but I'm not sure either. I can't really prove that. But I can prove it about Noah, okay? Noah went where they all knew where the good land was. Noah was a farmer. He was actually a carpenter. They were all carpenters. This Ham was a carpenter, Japheth, Shem, they were all carpenters. They built the boat. They went to rebuild cities, and because everything had been totally demolished, it was a big mess, but it was one piece of land. So it's not like they had to walk a long ways to get there. They could pretty much walk there in, you know, just a short time. No, I don't know how long, but they knew where the good land was because they was in the west. The boat floated to the east. There's a city named No, N-O, in the Bible, okay? And it's very important to realize this, but they all had their choices of land. Well, Noah was the one that had you know, first choice, because he was the one that heard from God mostly, and he heard from God, so he had first choice. So he chose the best land, and so what he did is he chose where the four rivers meet in the Garden of Eden, okay, and he named it Noe. Okay, this was in the garden. The land of Eden was a big land. But Noah knew where the best land was, or Noah knew where the best land was. Okay, now I want to read you this. Now all of them traveled to the west, okay? Genesis 11:2. And it came to pass as they journeyed from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. Okay, so they all went to the west. Okay, Noah, he went to where the best land was. And Noah, as we know, he wasn't a carpenter anymore. Noah became a farmer. He planted grapevines. Noah planted grapevines and fruit trees and things like that, I'm sure, because the grapevines would have to have lots of water, have to have good ground. And so nobody's going to plant a grapevine in the desert, okay? Nowadays they've got the means to make it better, but back then, why plant a grapevine in the middle of the desert when you can go where you know where the good land is? So they went to the place where the Garden of Eden was, where it came out in 4 different heads. And that would be Austin, Texas, in Barton Springs. Barton Springs has 4 different big, gigantic places that the underground river, the greatest one in the whole wide world, is called the Ogallala, okay? And I put it right here, Ogallala. It's the greatest underground river in the whole wide world, and it flows out right through Texas, and to the east of Eden is the garden, okay? The garden is the place of Austin, Texas. Now, we're actually kind of all the garden because Texas is really a wonderful place. But the Garden of Eden, where the water came out, those 4 heads produce 31 million gallons of water a day. And if you want to Google something really interesting, Google Barton Springs, okay? And that's on a bad day. On a good day, it produces 81 million gallons of water a day. Now, I want to read you this as confirmation how this is where Noah settled, okay? Nahum 3:8. Art thou better than populous No, that was situated among the rivers, that had the waters round about it, whose rampart was from the sea, and her wall was from the sea? Now, the reason Nahum was after the dividing of the land. Now, Noah and Ham and Japheth and Shem and all these right here saw the dividing of the land. And so Noah not only went through the first catastrophe where the flood happened, he also went through the catastrophe of the asteroid hitting in the Gulf of Mexico and splitting up the continents. So Noah experienced 2 devastating things in his lifetime. But Noah lived to be 950 years old. So Noah lived 350 years after the flood. So he lived during the time of Peleg. And I can prove this, okay? This is the dates everyone died, okay? Now, the dates that they lived are on another chart, but Peleg was born in the year 1757, but he died in the year 1996. Well, you can tell all these right here on this whole list lived past 1996. So the dividing of the continents happened during the time of Peleg. So this is very amazing because we have not been taught that Noah walked on one piece of land, and we haven't been taught that he was here during the time of the dividing of the continents. So there's a lot of people that are not listed in the genealogy of some of these relatives because they died in the continents being split up. And so that brought the population down a lot, because I wanted to share with you about Uz, okay? Uz was, he settled, and he was Shem's son, so all the grandsons and anyone that could get territory, they came over and they named territory. Now I'm not sure exactly where Uz is. I don't know. I just know Job was very populous. Job lived in the city of Uz, okay? And I'll read that to you right quick so you will know that I'm telling you the truth. But Job, it says, there was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job, and that man was perfect and upright, and one that feared God and that shunned evil. Okay, so Uz, he had a city somewhere around here. I'm sure it was in the best part of the land. Okay, he had a city, and Job lived there. Okay, Job lived to be. It says he lived 4 generations. Well, a generation's 70 years. So if he lived 4 generations, he would have been 24 years old. 7 times 4 is 28, I guess. He'd be 28 years, 280 years. 280 years. So Job would have been 280 years old when he died, if he lived 4 generations, okay? Because a generation's 70 years. King David determined the generation when King David died at 70. And then also God tells us this generation will not pass away, that, talking about the fig tree, until they see the return of Jesus. And I'm paraphrasing that, so you might want to look that one up. But it's in Matthew 24. So this is important. Job is not... He saw the dividing of the continents. Job did. And he lived during the time of all these other patriots. He was 280 years old. And Job was the son of it wasn't Peleg, but it was his brother. His brother's name was Joktan. Joktan was, he had... Okay, Joktan, no, excuse me, I'm wrong. Let's see. Joktan, yep, it was Joktan. Okay, wait one moment. Okay, Joktan's son was Job, okay, but it was spelled wrong. It was spelled different. It was spelled Joab, okay? That's a shortened form, okay? And this is very interesting because think about this. Joktan was during the time of the dividing of the land. Peleg lived 239 years old. And so we got to, his brother was probably about the same age as him, not much older or whatever, but he probably lived 239 years at least, if not more, too. So he was during the dividing of the land, too. Joktan was during the dividing of the land, because they didn't die until, all these patriots right here didn't die until they saw the dividing of the continents. Okay, now Joktan's sons, which is Job, okay, and another one is Sheba. Now Sheba is from South Africa, or South America, somewhere in here. Okay, we know Sheba's somewhere in here. Ham settled in Egypt. So Sheba is somewhere in there. Now Havilah, there's the river in the Garden of Eden, is called Havilah. One of the rivers that flow out of the Garden of Eden is called Havilah. One of Joktan's sons is called Havilah. So he named that river because the rivers probably got messed up too, because when God destroyed the earth, I'm sure the rivers looked a lot different too. The scenery looked different, the buildings were destroyed, the trees were destroyed, a lot of things were destroyed. But Havilah was he had named that river, okay, from the Garden of Eden. Now Oprah, now this is really amazing because I want to share this with you. Oprah is in Job 28. This is what Job 28:16. It cannot be valued with the gold of Oprah. Okay, Oprah was Job's brother. He was Job's brother. So Oprah named the land that had gold in it. Okay. And it says, it cannot be valued, this is talking about wisdom, in Job 28:16, it cannot be valued with the gold of Oprah, with the precious onyx or the sapphire. Okay, now this is where we have to really dig in and study, because a lot of people just take somebody's word for it instead of getting in there themselves and studying, and God wants us to study. So when Job tells us that Oprah is a city, then that means that the Jatkin's son named Oprah. Okay, Jatkin's son is called Ophir. Okay, and his other son is Sheba. Okay, we know the Queen of Sheba. We know that where she came from had to have lots of peacocks. It had to have lots of elephants, lots of ivory and things like that. And she was from the south. So we know that she was from the south because the Bible tells us this. Okay, so Joktan had 13 children. So, but those are two or three very important ones, or four very important ones, because they are characters in the Bible that we can relate to, because they named cities and rivers. Okay, so another one, Shem's son. Shem had 9 sons. Okay, and so we just this Uz right here, the Uz. This is very important because Uz was not that much older, more than likely, than Job. Even though these people look like they were, way far apart and everything, they really wasn't, because there's most of them had their children at sometimes 30 years old. So there wasn't that much of a difference in a lot of their ages, except they all lived to different ages, which were, around the same ages, but some of them was 400 and something years. Some of them was 239 years. Ruha was 239 years. Abraham lived 175 years. I think he's probably the one that lived the least. 175 years. But before that, everyone was living in, even Terah, I think he lived 205 years. Yeah, Terah lived 205 years. So all these people lived a very, very long time. So we have to think that even though it seems like there's a lot of people there, there really isn't, because they're still really close. In the, when you live 950 years, you're going to see a lot of generations at 950 years. And Noah was 950 years old when he died. And he lived 350 years after the flood, so that's pretty amazing. But Job is who I really want to concentrate on right now. And Job, we've been taught so much about Job, but we haven't really realized that he was not from the east. He was from the west too. Because Job, he had all these cattle, and they had to have good ground. Okay. And so a lot of this area is sand and not real good ground. Now, I think now that they've kind of made it better, But I hope that this teaching is going to help, because there's so much more that I want to teach. But Azar, he was a Syrian, okay? Azar was the son of Shem, okay? Azar was the son of Shem. There's not much mentioning about Azar except that he went and he founded, he's the first Assyrian, okay? He founded the Babylonians. And I'll read you that right quick. Isaiah 23:13. Behold, the land of Babylon, or the land of the Chaldeans, which was Babylon, okay? That was Abraham, where Abraham was from. And see, we haven't been taught that Mesopotamia was America. Right now, they changed the name of America to North Mesoamerica and South Mesoamerica. Now, they did that on purpose, okay? There's a lot that they do on purpose, okay? But to protect their doctrine, okay? So this is very scary, because we want to be seekers of the truth. We don't want to be in bondage to lies. We want to follow God. Okay, so this is behold, the land of the Chaldeans. This people was not till the Assyrian founded it for them. Okay, that he left. See, this is Shem's son. He left off the boat. When they got off the boat, I don't know how long they was in the east. They wasn't there that too long, I don't think. They traveled back, and he found the good land too. The Chaldeans had good land. It wasn't in the desert like everybody's been taught. Okay, the Chaldeans are the Babylonians. Okay, now the Babylonians were in the land of Shinar, and the land was separated by an asteroid. And it didn't happen 200,000 years ago like everybody's been taught. The asteroid hit in the Gulf of Mexico and split up the continents. Egypt was right by Texas. It was right by Texas. It was joined to Texas. So it's very important that we figure out this stuff for ourselves and ask the Lord and get Him to show us, okay? And so I hope that helps. This is very important that we know the truth, because the truth is what sets people free. And I hope that helps. God bless y'all.